Do you love this pattern, but maybe the fabric isn't quite to your taste, or you can't find the called for fabric anywhere? Today we're going to go through some fabric options that you might like even better. Hello everybody, my name is Julie and welcome to my channel. For those of you who might be new here, I am the owner of Reflections Framing and Stitching, which is a counted cross-stitch store in Bellevue, Nebraska. And today we're going to be looking at different fabric options for the newly released Pink Coat Santa from Teresa Kogut. The called for fabric is 40 count Sandbar by Under the Sea Fabrics, and I have just a little bit of Sandbar, not enough to do this chart, but enough to show you what the color looks like. It's a darker brown. It has some underlying pinkish purple undertones to the brown. So, and I know why she chose this color. She used DMC 840 for the fur on his coat. And DMC 840 is a tough color if you're putting it on a neutral fabric. It tends to blend into almost any color brown you can think of. So I understand why she chose this, because it would show up on this. But it's not, for this design, something that I personally would choose. And I had a couple people who asked me if I would do fabric options for it. So here I am. That is what we're going to be doing today. The first thing I'm going to show you, I think, as I said, this is supposed to be stitched on 40 count. And I have all the called for colors here with the exception of the white. The reason I don't have white is because the color that you're going to use for the white is going to depend on the color of fabric that you eventually choose. And so I chose not to include that. So these are all the called for colors. And it's a mixture of DMC and 5 overdyes, if I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 overdyes. And then there'd be the white on top of that, whether you use B5200, regular white, ecru. I believe the called for white is, let me see, grits. Weeks Dye Works grits would be the called for. And again, the color white that you're going to use is going to depend on your fabric background, because different whites work better on different colors. And I, speaking from my personal experience, I generally prefer to just use a DMC when I'm using white. I don't feel like I get very much bang for my buck using an overdyed white. But that's just my personal choice. You do you. Always. You do you. So let me show you the called for fabric with the called for colors. Is where we're going to start. And as you can tell when I hold this up, it's such a small piece that it's kind of difficult to hold it up without the fabric falling off. But I think I got it now. So that is your called for fabric with your called for floss, minus the white. And everything shows up just fine, including that pesky 840, although I will say when you get down to one thread, which is what you'll be doing on 40 count, it may or may not show up well. And I'm one of those that if I'm going to use a color, I want it to show up. So There is a little fix for that. You could, instead of using 840, you could use DMC 839, which is a little bit darker. And it's used on Santa's fur coat. It's the fur. So he'd just have a little bit darker fur. And that would fix the problem on most neutral fabrics. So keep that in mind if you don't like any of these beautiful colors that I chose for you. The first fabric that I'm going to show you would be what I would have that would be closest to the called for, and that would be 40 count shale from Picture This Plus. A much busier fabric, as you can see. But pretty much everything will work on it as it would on the Sandbar. And it might be one of those that you would want to change the 840 to the 839. But that would be you. I mean, it's DMC, so I'd probably buy both and then see which one I like better. I don't mind doing that. Because I'd rather have it look good the first time than to get part of it done and then have to rip more out. Not a fan of ripping. Next up, I have 18 count cookie dough from Needle Bling. It's kind of a cocoa brown, maybe some darker hints of almost a purple brown. Let's see. And this is what the floss will look like on there. You see that? There. I think everything will work on here with the exception of the 840. So again, I would switch it over to 839 if this was the fabric I was going to choose. It's not the fabric I would choose. It would work. It would look fine. But I think there's others that I like better. Next up, another neutral is 40 count Brenda's Brew. It's a dark brown. Has a little more golden color to it. Let's see. Stretch this out. There you go. And again, your white would depend on your fabric color. I would probably go with white, not B5200. I don't think that's necessary. But I think I'd probably go with white on this. Just, again, I like my whites to show up if I'm going to take the time to stitch them. Next up, and this is the last of the neutrals that I will be showing you before we go, well, last of the brown neutrals. How's that? So it looks, let me go this way. There. Just have to be smarter than the fabric, I guess, huh? So that's what those colors would look like on that fabric. And this is Ween Beans 40 count Needle Bling. going to go into some gray neutrals now. The first one is 40 count vintage flagstone from Lakeside Linens, which is a very neutral gray. That looks like this. Well, here, you want to see that first. Just a nice gray, not a lot of movement, but the colors are all going to show up nice. Again, I'd probably, I might keep the 840 on this one. I think it would be okay, but I'd test it. All right, next up is very similar to Vintage Country Mocha. We have Vintage Smoking or Stormy Night. So this is a stamped fabric, not a dyed fabric. Looks like this. So it gives you some movement. I find that this movement has a grain pattern to it, so I prefer mine to run this way as opposed to this way. But again, that's a me thing, and if you don't care, then don't worry about it. That is what the colors would look like. Again, they look quite nice. They all show up. I'd probably use white on this just to make sure it showed up, but again, it's a me thing, not a you thing. Next up, I'm going to show you some 18 count Blue Ridge. It's a Atomic Ranch color. It's blue, as you could tell by the name Blue Ridge. Just a nice, on the dark side, but not dark blue with some nice movement. And I like how those colors kind of just come alive on that fabric. Yes, even though I'm not a blue person, I do like how this looks. And I think, you know, if you wanted to use grits, you certainly could on this and it would be fine. Next up is another blue. This is 32 count Jack Frost. We'll go this way. And hold it that way. Okay, Jack Frost gives you a good look at what it looks like. Just I would call that a medium blue. It's a little bit lighter than the previous Blue Ridge. And there's the colors on it. And I like that too. Yep. I think that's pretty. What do you think? Have you picked a favorite so far? No, of course you haven't, because you haven't seen everything yet. You can't pick a favorite without seeing all. But then I am going to challenge you to all put your favorite in the comments. 40 count Bramble is a Seraphim, I believe, fabric. Not to be confused with the Bramble from Picture This Plus. I would consider this a gray-green. And it's, you know, one of my favorite colors, so love those colors on there. Love that. Everything will show up. You don't have to substitute anything, including the grits. Grits is going to show up fine. I do like that one. And the last fabric that I have to show you is called wood something. Woodland Lichen. It's a 40 count. It is a seraphim fabric. And it looks like that. Well, here. This one is similar to the bramble, but has a little bit more blue in it, as I will show you here. See? A little more blue. And there's the colors. That is it. Now you can tell me, which is your favorite? Leave a comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. That helps move me up. All three of those help move me up in the algorithm, which makes YouTube push my video out to more people, so more people can get the benefit of seeing the colors and the floss together, because I know you guys like that and don't want to be selfish and keep it to yourselves. So please help a girl out. Like, comment, subscribe, all three. It's awesome. It costs you nothing but a little bit of your time to leave the comment. And I'm challenging, so I average 20 to 25 comments per video. I would like, and I'm challenging you, to get me to 50 comments on this video, please. That would be thrilling for me if I had 50 people weighing in on which fabric that they like. So that takes care of your chart of the day. I have no stitching to show you, so we're not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna do a little chit chat now. You can tune off if you don't want, but I'm hoping everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving with family. Ours got kind of canceled at the end. Abby called. Abby was hosting. Abby called. She had a fever and had thrown up, and we did not want it. So we canceled Thanksgiving at Abby's house, and luckily I was bringing ham, and I had the salad, and I had the potatoes. So we called Alex and Emily, and they brought little Griffin over. They had the pie and the rolls, and we had kind of a small, subdued Thanksgiving. It was fine, but everyone was a little bit saddened that we couldn't all get together. Hopefully we have better luck at Christmas time. So there's that. The shop was closed over Thanksgiving, and then I was supposed to be open for Small Business Saturday, and we had a snowstorm. And granted, the snowstorm was over, probably the worst of it was done by noon on Saturday, but then the roads were really slick. So I sent out a notice early Saturday morning saying I wasn't going to be open, and I had sent out a little email a couple days before that saying that I was canceling Small Business Saturday and stitching and moving it to this upcoming weekend. So I will be having my Small Business Saturday this coming Saturday, and last Saturday Stitch for November will be the first Saturday of December. We'll probably cancel second Saturday Stitch and just go right into last Saturday in December, which is 2 days after Christmas. I don't know who's going to want to come, but I'll be there. What else can I tell you about? That's about it for shop updates. I am slowly working on framing. And that's about it. In our personal life, we are dealing with some sad news for Rags. She's been having some bathroom issues, has a UTI. He did some testing. He's pretty sure she has a tumor. And I don't know how much longer she'll be with us. She's currently reluctantly wearing a diaper because she's just peeing everywhere, and you can't have that in the house. She's tolerating the diaper pretty well. Pretty well, she's tolerating it. And Dan and I are still getting used to, can't just open up the door to let her out. We got to stop and take the diaper off. Last night he forgot, and he sent her outside with the diaper on. I'm sure she couldn't figure out quite what was going on there. But she's doing pretty well tolerating it. While she was at the vet's office, they broke one of her nails off pretty badly. So she's been in her one paw has been wrapped up until today. I finally unwrapped it, but she's still limping on it. So I'm probably going to wrap it back up here pretty quickly. And that's probably it. I have a fantastic, wonderful, awesome vintage find that there's a gal that does YouTube videos here in Omaha. Her name is Jade, and I think her channel is, what is her channel? I knew it just a second ago, and now I don't. It's something. Oh, yeah. Peach and Olive Vintage. I always want to say Peach and Vine Vintage, but it's Peach and Olive Vintage. She's here in Omaha, and she had originally bought the item for herself and then changed her mind. And I was doing a happy dance because I happened to watch the video where she changed her mind and said she was going to be putting it on her Etsy shop. And I hopped over to Etsy right away and I bought it. And it's awesome, but I'm not going to show it today because I have a second question for you. And I'm going to do a poll on the community, under the community tab for that question. So I would like you all to go over there and do the poll also. And I should have that up before this video goes live. This is something new for me, using the community tab. So, it can go wrong in a million different ways, I'm sure. So if y'all could answer that poll, again, it doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. And that's it. That's all we're going to do today is, so your question of the day, we're doing a throwback to COVID times. Your question of the day is, which of these fabrics was your favorite? And then I'm challenging you to go over and do the poll on my community tab. And I'm also challenging you to get 50 of you to comment on this video. So, lots of homework for you guys. My next video will probably be a stitching update. And I have to finish showing you the laundry room now that it's all decorated. So that should be in the next video whenever that comes out. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful week, and hopefully you're getting all of your holiday decorations done. Mine is kind of stalled out because I did a stupid thing. I was watching another video of a gal that I watch, a vintage gal, Ginger Chick Rehab I think is the name of hers. Anyway, Yvonne was doing her Christmas decorating and talking about who in the middle of decorating decides to paint a cabinet and revamp things. And I was laughing because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what idiot does something like that? And then I kind of have done the same thing. We haven't painted it yet. I've got it moved into here. I've got my wonderful vintage find in it because I didn't want to leave it out in the library where I never am. I wanted it in here where I can look at it all the time. And so, yeah, there we are. We'll probably be painting that cabinet next weekend in the middle of everything else because that's the way I roll, and I'm an idiot. So anyway, until the next video, you take care and happy stitching. Bye.